Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
Her skin felt like velvet beneath my fingertips that night, yet all I could see was Sophia's face. The sharp sting of guilt mixed with an electrifying rush of pleasure. That was the stark reality of swinging. I'd been so tired of our regular, stable life, always looking for something more, something to ignite it. This is how one simple choice to deviate from the norm turned everything upside down. I'm Lucas, a factory manager in my late 30s, married for 12 years to Sophia, who's also in her late 30s and works part-time at the grocery. We've got two great kids, a 5-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. From the outside, our lives looked perfect, but inside, I always felt this nagging emptiness. After the kids were asleep, our evenings were quiet. I'd be on the living room couch, watching TV, and Sophia would be on her phone. Our talks were just about normal stuff, what to pack for the kids' lunches or making next month's doctor's appointments. Even our sex life was rare, maybe once a month, and always the same old routine. Day after day, the same thing, and I felt like I was losing my sense of being alive. It all started at a happy hour with my coworker, Matt. He'd had a few drinks and just blurted out, "Honestly, my wife and I are swinging with another couple." At first, I thought he was joking, but then he looked me right in the eye, serious, and said, "It's the best way to spice things up when life gets boring." His words stuck in my head like a spell. All the way home that night, I couldn't stop thinking about what Matt said. I was skeptical, but a strange curiosity had me hooked. The next day, at lunch, I found Matt and asked for all the details. He studied my face, then asked cautiously, "If you're interested, I can introduce you, but do you think Sophia would go for it?" Honestly, I never thought Sophia would agree, but some unknown impulse pushed me, and I decided to take a chance. That night, after the kids were asleep, my heart pounded as I brought it up to Sophia. "Sophia, this might sound a little weird." I started hesitating. She stared at the ceiling, a long moment of silence stretching between us. I watched her profile, seeing a flicker of something: fear, excitement, a desperate hope. Finally, she turned to me. "Oh, I've seen stuff like that on TV. I might actually be interested." A faint, almost imperceptible tremor ran through her voice. She looked right at me and confessed, "I've been a little bored with the same routine, and I didn't want to cheat on you behind your back." Hearing her say that, I saw Sophia in a whole new light. Her honesty and boldness were incredibly attractive to me. So, Matt introduced us to the other couple. I was a mix of nervous and excited as the day we'd meet got closer. We met in a private room at a fancy restaurant downtown. Matt had told us to pick a discreet spot, so we could leave easily if things got awkward. Matt whispered in my ear, "That's them," and I saw a couple waving from a table in the back. Trying to keep my heart from racing, we went over and sat down. The other husband was Rex, 39, a manager at a local grocery store. He smiled a bit more than Matt, and when he did, I could see faint lines around his kind eyes. His wife, Isabella, was 36, a hairstylist. Her makeup was a bit bold, and her brown hair stood out, but her smile was really sweet. Her eyes were full of curiosity, and the way her clothes hugged her body was incredibly sensual. "Matt's told us a lot about you," Rex started, his voice low and smooth. "Since it's your first time, let's just relax and get to know each other." We clinked our beer glasses and slowly started talking. We talked about normal things: our kids' schools, what we did on weekends, our favorite foods. By the time our second beers were almost gone, the atmosphere had really softened. "Rex and I have been married for 9 years, Isabella said, her voice soft. "We started doing this about 2 years ago, and it's really brought some excitement back into our lives." When Sophia asked, "How do you even begin something like this?" Isabella smiled and replied, "It might feel a little awkward at first, but just let it flow. Go at your own pace." As we kept drinking, the conversation slowly drifted into more teasing territory. "Your wife has an amazing figure," Rex said to Sophia, his gaze lingering. Sophia's cheeks flushed a delicate red. I couldn't help but let my eyes drift to Isabella's generous chest, barely contained by her low-cut blouse. Isabella seemed to notice, because she subtly leaned a little closer to me. The sweet, alluring scent of her perfume drifted to my nose, making my heart subtly quicken. "So, how about next Saturday?" Rex suggested. He mentioned they could leave their kids with his parents. Sophia and I looked at each other, then gave a small nod. I knew then there was no turning back. On the drive home, Sophia asked me, her voice a mix of nerves and curious excitement, "Are we really doing this?" I paused, then answered honestly, "I'm nervous, but yeah, I'm also kind of thrilled." Her words made my own heart pound. The week leading up to that Saturday crawled by, filled with a strange, thrilling anticipation. By 6 p.m. that Saturday evening, it was just Isabella and me in my living room. Sophia had already left for a boutique hotel nearby with Rex. The kids were at my mother-in-law's house, so it was just the two of us. "Are you nervous?" Isabella asked with a playful smile. Her sleek, elegant dress barely contained her curves, and a sweet, intoxicating perfume clung to her, making my senses tingle. Her eyes sparkled, practically inviting me in. "Yeah, a little," I admitted. She moved closer, sitting on the sofa next to me. "Me too. How about some wine?" she suggested. I went to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of wine, and poured us each a glass. "Are you really okay with this?" "And Sophia too?" I asked, needing that reassurance. Isabella smiled softly. "Yes, Sophia and Rex both agreed. And you and Sophia agreed too, right?" As we sipped our wine, our conversation started innocuously, talking about the weather and work. But slowly, the space between us closed. She asked, "Show me some pictures," so I pulled out my phone and showed her family vacation photos. "What a wonderful family," she said, smiling. Then, naturally, she shifted, her shoulder brushing against mine. A subtle shiver ran through me as her soft skin made contact with my arm. "Sophia must be very special to you, isn't she?" Isabella whispered in my ear, her breath warm against my lobe. "Of course," I replied. "Then I'm relieved," she said, gently leaning her face closer to mine. Our first kiss started tentatively, but it quickly turned passionate. Her lips were softer, her scent more alluring, her breathing rougher than my wife's. Everything felt new, and my heart hammered a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Her hand went to my shirt buttons, slowly unfastening them. My body was already burning, responding to her touch. "Where's the bedroom?" she purred seductively in my ear. Without a word, I took her hand and led her there. Bringing another woman into the very bedroom I shared with my wife felt like a profound betrayal. Yet that very transgression only fueled my arousal, making my blood hum. Isabella's body was slightly more firm and full than Sophia's, her skin meticulously cared for, soft as silk. Her black lace lingerie was exquisite, and she shyly admitted, "I picked this out just for tonight." My eyes devoured her sensual curves and the glimpses of exposed skin. As I caressed her, her reactions were starkly different from Sophia's. She arched into me with every touch, her body alive, letting out raw, guttural moans that sent shivers down my spine. The wet heat of her core felt different, incredibly soft, and with every connection, deep, thrilled sounds erupted from her, making me push deeper. As our bodies came together, the thought, "Is Sophia with Rex right now?" briefly flashed through my mind. But then Isabella's ecstatic face consumed my awareness. Her eyes burned with a desire that threatened to devour me, and her body was a blazing fire, radiating heat. I surrendered completely to the explosive sensation I was experiencing for the very first time. The climax we reached, intensified by our mutual arousal, was an overwhelming wave of pleasure unlike anything I'd felt in a long, long time. The world dissolved into a blinding flash of pure sensation. Every nerve ending in my body screamed, alive and overloaded, as a wave of pure, unadulterated pleasure crashed over me. I gasped, a primal sound torn from my throat, as the release tore through me, hot and absolute. She convulsed in my arms, a guttural cry escaping her lips, completely consumed by the intensity. Our breaths came in ragged gasps, and our sweat-slicked bodies pressed deeper, intertwining further. Afterward, we lay side by side in silence for a while, sharing shy smiles. "I'm hungry," Isabella murmured sweetly, and we rummaged through the fridge, sharing a simple meal of leftovers. It felt strange, sitting at my own kitchen table with another woman. But surprisingly, the feeling of deep satisfaction was stronger than any guilt. My thoughts raced, a jumble of conflicting desires and guilt, leaving me adrift. I was confused, yet captivated by the thrill of this new experience. Late that night, a text from Sophia arrived. "Heading home now." Isabella also started getting ready to leave. "I should probably go," she said. As I walked her to the door, her bright smile as she said, "It was really fun," left a lasting impression. When Sophia got home, an awkward silence settled between us. "How was it?" I asked cautiously. She just shrugged. "Oh, it was fine," not meeting my eyes. I knew then it was anything but fine. That night, we lay in the same bed, but we didn't touch. A subtle barrier seemed to have formed between us. The next morning, the air still felt thick between us. Sophia went about her usual routine, but I noticed her applying perfume with a little more care, choosing a new blouse she hadn't worn before. I caught myself wondering about Rex, about what they'd done, and then felt a fresh pang of guilt. Later, when our son, innocent as ever, hugged me and said, "Dad, you're the best," a knot formed in my stomach. I hugged him back, but couldn't quite meet his gaze, a wave of shame washing over me. About a month after that first time, our two couples started meeting once a month. With each encounter, the awkwardness faded, and the relationships felt more natural. On the night of our third swing, Isabella came out of our bathroom and made an unexpected confession. She stood in front of me, wrapped only in a towel, and said, "I think I'm falling for you." I was stunned. This was supposed to be just physical. "Rex has a different kind of charm," Isabella continued, looking me in the eye. "But you really listen to me, and you understand how I feel." That night, the time we spent together was distinctly hotter than before. We explored each other like lovers, our bodies slick with sweat. Isabella's unique moans and movements were now burned into my memory. The feel and shape of her most intimate parts felt familiar, like a known landscape. But with that closeness, I realized our emotional distance was also shrinking. I couldn't help but ask cautiously, "Are things going well with your husband?" "My daily life is peaceful," Isabella said, smiling sadly. Her eyes held a deep loneliness. "But there's no passion anymore. He doesn't look at me the way you do." Her words filled me with a complex mix of emotions: pity for her, confusion about her feelings for me, and curiosity mixed with apprehension about Rex and Sophia's relationship. That weekend, while out shopping with my family, I noticed Sophia's phone constantly buzzing with notifications. She casually checked the screen, sometimes smiling to herself. It looked like she was texting Rex. A small pang of jealousy stirred inside me. "Who are you texting?" I asked. She just mumbled, "Just an ad," and brushed me off. In that moment, a tiny flame of jealousy ignited in my chest. Was this what I'd wanted? To feel this gut-wrenching twist of jealousy, knowing she was finding that special connection elsewhere? The irony was brutal. About 6 months into our swinging arrangement, Isabella's texts became more and more frequent. Messages like, "What are you doing now?" or "My kid won't be home after school tomorrow," became part of my daily routine. I felt a growing unease as our relationship seemed to be moving towards just Isabella and me, leaving Rex and Sophia out. But I couldn't deny that I was deeply drawn to her. On the night of our fourth swing, Isabella burst into tears and confessed to me, "I don't think I love Rex anymore." Her words left me speechless. This was a completely unexpected turn. Real feelings had grown beyond the simple boundaries of a couple swap. "I don't know what to do," she sobbed. "But I feel so comfortable and happy when I'm with you." Isabella's confession hit me hard. Love? Was I in love with her? Could I really love another woman while betraying Sophia? My mind was a tangled mess, and I felt utterly lost in this maze of emotions. While my feelings for Isabella were definitely becoming special, could I truly call them love? And thinking of Sophia, she was still undeniably the precious person I'd built a life with and raised children with. Gradually, my heart started to waver intensely within this arrangement. Guilt, confusion, and a flood of unfamiliar feelings weighed me down. About 8 months into our swinging arrangement, things took an unexpected turn. Isabella's calls and messages became even more frequent, sometimes including subtle invitations to meet in secret. I kept refusing, telling her it wasn't right to break our original agreement, but her feelings seemed to have grown too strong to ignore. Meanwhile, Sophia also started changing. She seemed to pay more attention to her appearance, buying new clothes and lingerie, and even getting her nails done on weekends. When she said, "I'm just trying to take better care of myself," I found I couldn't genuinely be happy for her. It left a sour taste. Then, one night, while Sophia was in the bathroom, her phone, lying on the table, chimed with a notification. I couldn't help but glance at the screen. A text message from Rex was displayed. "Last night was really special. When can we meet next?" "When the kids aren't around." A sharp pain shot through my chest. What did special mean? Were they meeting outside our agreed-upon times? Those doubts hit hard. But did I have the right to blame her? I was doing the exact same thing with Isabella. What was supposed to be a mutually agreed-upon couple swap had somehow turned into something completely different. I was consumed by deep guilt and confusion. The following weekend, the four of us had dinner. The air was thick with unspoken tension. Rex still avoided my gaze, and Isabella seemed almost fragile, watching Sophia with a quiet intensity. That night, Sophia and Rex went to the usual boutique hotel, while Isabella and I stayed at my house. On the bed, Isabella suddenly started to cry. "I can't take this anymore," she sobbed. "Rex is completely obsessed with Sophia. He doesn't even see me anymore." Her words hit me hard. The fact that my wife had such a deep appeal that she could captivate another man so completely. It was both a source of pride and a sting of bitter jealousy, mixing into a complex swirl of emotions. "Are we really okay like this?" Isabella asked me, her eyes locked on mine. "Do you truly love Sophia?" Her question made me pause and think deeply. 12 years of memories with Sophia flooded my mind. Our wedding day, the birth of our children, our first road trip in that beat-up used car, the day we moved from our small apartment to our current house. All the joys and sorrows we'd shared. And then, the changes of the past 8 months. "I do." I finally managed to speak, my voice shaky. "I love Sophia. Maybe this swinging was a mistake after all." Isabella looked sad, but then a faint smile touched her lips. Her eyes held a mix of resignation and understanding. "I knew it. Your eyes were always following Sophia." That night, we just talked. We didn't touch each other physically. We simply shared our honest feelings. Isabella also confessed that, deep down, she actually wanted to repair her relationship with Rex. Complex emotions flickered in her eyes too. The next morning, before I saw Isabella off, she gently kissed my cheek. "Thank you for the wonderful memories." Her words tightened something in my chest. Thinking this was the last time, a strange sense of melancholy washed over me. That evening, when Sophia came home, her expression was clearly resolute. She came over to me and said quietly, "We need to talk." Then, with a firm tone, she added, "Should we end this whole arrangement?" I let out a sigh of relief. "Yeah, I was thinking the same thing," I replied, and tears welled up in Sophia's eyes. "I'll be honest with you," she continued, her voice trembling. "At first, I started this looking for excitement, but as I spent time with Rex, some special feelings did start to grow. But that's when I realized, I can't even imagine life without you." With her confession, I hugged Sophia tightly. It was a strange relief, knowing we'd walked the same path and reached the same conclusion. "What about Rex and Isabella?" I asked, looking into Sophia's eyes. "Isabella actually called me," she replied. "She wants the four of us to talk." The next day, the four of us sat across from each other in the private room of our usual restaurant. The air was still thick with tension, but Isabella was the first to speak. "We talked about it too," she said calmly. "We've decided to end this here." Rex nodded, adding, "At first, we were just looking for a thrill, but our feelings got way too complicated. But that's when we realized what truly matters." The four of us exchanged glances, sharing awkward smiles. What began as a simple search for excitement had, in the end, helped each of us realize the true value of our own partners. Let's raise a toast, the four of us, one last time. Rex proposed, lifting his beer glass. A subtle sense of relief seemed to flicker across his face. Thanks for the wild memories. And from now on, let's cherish our own families. The four beer glasses clinked together with a soft sound. 6 months have passed since then. My relationship with Sophia has deepened considerably. We've really reaffirmed each other's worth and now put communication above everything else. On weekends, we often leave the kids with my mother-in-law and spend time at a nearby resort, rekindling the passion we had when we were newlyweds. We've even started cooking classes together, laughing as we mess up recipes, and taking long walks just to talk. It's a conscious effort, but it feels good, real. As for Rex and Isabella, we occasionally run into them downtown and just exchange brief greetings. I've even seen them rebuilding their relationship, going to their kids' soccer games, and enjoying trips to theme parks as a family. Sometimes, Isabella's scent or her voice still comes back to me. It's a vivid, unforgettable memory. But at the same time, Sophia's bright smile comes to mind, and I feel an unparalleled sense of peace. What are you thinking about? Sophia asked, sitting beside me on the sofa one weekend, her eyes full of curiosity. Oh, just about the journey we've been on together, I replied. She smiled and leaned her head on my shoulder. Do you regret that experience? Sophia asked softly. No, I answered without hesitation. I believe that experience led us to the happiness we have now. Sophia squeezed my hand and whispered, I think so too. We went looking for excitement outside our marriage, only to discover the deepest, most real connection was right here, between us, all along.